Hello students, today I am going to teach you the standard 7 third lesson, that is properties of natural resources. In 6th standard or in previous standard we studied about the natural resource. What is a natural resource? We just revise it. What a natural resource? A natural resource is something found in nature and can be used by people, is known as a natural resource. That means a thing which are available naturally. That is called natural resources. For example, trees, plants, light, air, water, soil and minerals. So let us see the first natural resource, or the natural resource, that is air. We know that air is all around us. Okay, we cannot see the air but we feel it. When we blow with our when we blow on our hand like this through our lips, we can feel the air. We know that air is a mixture of gases, water vapors and other substances, and it has a specific properties and characteristics. You can observe a figure given in the slide. In that, from this we can understood the proportion of various gases in the air. The 78% nitrogen, then 21% oxygen and less than 1% mixture of other gases are present in the air. Other gases in the sense what? Argon, carbon dioxide and other constituents of the gas. Okay, other constituents of the gases are present in the air. Now let us understand the properties of the air. So this one is the first activity. Take a stick, okay, and tie a thread at its center and hang it so that it remains horizontal. Tie two rubber balloons of the same size of the two ends of the stick. See to it that the stick remains horizontal. Now remove one balloon, inflate it and tie it again at its original position. Now does the stick remains horizontal? If we remove that balloon and we inflate it, what happened? The stick goes down on the side of the inflated balloon as shown in the figure and as shown in the slides. Okay, from this we can say that air has a weight. Air is a mixture of gases. Therefore, like all other matter, it has mass and weight. So this one is the first property of the air. Now you can observe here a figure of injection, okay, without a needle. Then from this let us see what is the activity. Take an injection syringe without the needle. Pull its piston and observe it as you do so. The piston can be pulled out easily. The piston then remains in that position even if you let it go. Now close the inlet hole of the syringe tightly with the help of your thumb as shown in the figure. Pull the piston and let it go. Is the force required to pull out the piston more or less than before? Yes. Answer what? Yes, we require the force to pull out the piston more or less. Now what happened? Remove the thumb from the inlet hole of the piston and does the of the syringe. Does the piston will go inside easily? Answer will be yes. On pulling the piston with the inlet hole of the syringe closed, more space becomes available to the air in the syringe and becomes rarefied. As a result, the pressure of the air in the syringe is lowered. Comparatively, the pressure of the outside air is very high. That is why when the pulled out piston is released, it is immediately pushed in. Okay, so from this experiment or from this activity, we can say that the molecules of the gases in the air are in a constant motion. When these molecules strike a body, they create a pressure on that body. This is called as the pressure of the air and we call it atmospheric pressure. If this experiment is repeated holding the syringe in a different position like vertical, horizontal and in inclined position, the piston is found to go to the same extent in all the cases. That means from this we can say that atmospheric pressure is the same in all direction. Now under an ordinary condition, atmospheric pressure at a sea level is about 1,1400 newtons per square meter. It can be measured with the help of a barometer. That means the atmospheric pressure is measured with the help of instrument, that is barometer. As we go higher above the sea level, atmospheric pressure decreases. Okay. So here given the another example, that is place a piece of cardboard on the mouth of the glass filled completely with the water, holding the cardboard firmly in the place with one hand. Invert the glass quickly. Take your hand away from the cardboard. What do you see? What happened actually here? The cardboard does not fall off. It holds the water in the container. Why this happened? Because the atmospheric pressure acting in the upward direction balances the downward force of the water acting on the cardboard. Hence the cardboard remains in that position. So this is all examples of atmospheric pressure. Now, a great scientist in 1726, the Swedish scientist, that is Daniel Bernoulli, put forth the important principle. So, which is the first one principle? The pressure of the air decreases when its velocity increases, while the pressure of the air increases when its velocity decreases. That means here given the relationship between the pressure of the air and the velocity, okay, which is inversely proportional. If the pressure is decreases, the velocity increases and vice versa. Second principle is what? If a body is moving through air, the air pressure decreases perpendicular to the direction of the motion. Then the air in its surrounding flows rapidly from higher pressure to the lower pressure. So according to this principle, the given one activity, what is that? Let us see. Here from this activity you can understood the Bernoulli's principle. So what is given in that activity? Take some water in a plastic cup as you seen in the figure, okay, and hold a straw upright in it. Hold a small piece of another straw near the upper end of the first straw and perpendicular to that straw. Blow hard through the small piece of straw, okay, in the upward direction. You see a fountain of water. So why did this happen? On blowing through the straw, the air at its open end is pushed away and hence pressure of the air at the opening goes down. Okay, as the pressure of the air near the upper end erect straw becomes less than the atmospheric pressure. That means in the at the opening end of the upper straw there is the low atmospheric pressure. The water in the cup is pushed from where the pressure is higher to where it is lower. That means from downward to the upward direction. And the water comes out in the form of a fountain. And what happened here? More the forcefully you blow, the higher will be the fountain. This is the Bernoulli's principle. Now the next one activity is given here. Take ice cubes in a glass as shown in the figure, okay, up to a 3/4 of the height. Then now observe what happens. How did the water droplets appears on the outside of the glass? You observe there are droplets of the water, okay, on the surface of the glass. Why? or how did they occur on the outside of the glass? Due to the ice cubes in the glass, the air surrounding the glass cools down, and what happened? The water vapors in this air cools down. It condenses and gets transformed into a water droplet. It is this water that collected on the outer surface of the glass. So this is the condensation, all about the condensation process. Now next concept is what is dew or how the dew is formed. So the level of humidity. So dew is depend upon the humidity, or that is the according to the condition of that humidity or humid temperature, we can say that the dew is formed. So how it is formed? The level of the humidity is different in a different places. Okay. Similarly, the humidity levels also changes from time to time during period of a single day. The level of humidity of air is determined by its capacity to holding the water vapors. During the night, when the temperature of air is low, its capacity to hold the water vapors is also low or less, and at such time the excess of water vapors is transformed into the water droplet, and that is called dew. dew म्हणजे काय? दव. ओके. जे सकाळी उठल्यानंतर आपल्याला पानांवरती किंवा आपल्या गाळ्यांवरती जे पाण्याचे ड्रॉपलेट्स दिसतात ते म्हणजे काय? तर दव. दॅट इज कॉल्ड dew. ओके. सो इन आफ्टरनून, when the temperature of the air is high, the capacity of the air to hold the moisture also increases. And then compared to its full capacity to hold water, the proportion of moisture in the air is less, and therefore we feel that air is dry. The proportion of water vapor in the air is high during the monsoon. Okay, that means in the air the proportion of water vapors are high. As a result, we feel the humidity or we feel dampness. Therefore, we see the droplets in the monsoon period. Okay, or we see that dew in the monsoon period. Now here one question is that in summer wet cloths dry quickly, but in rains they do not. Why this is so? Because as we discussed, in afternoon temperature of the air is high, and therefore the capacity of air to hold the water vapors or to hold the moisture is increases, and therefore the wet cloths are dry quickly in summer. Next is here given one activity, and from this activity the next properties of the air we understood from this activity. So what is given in the first figure, that is here you can observe that a boy blow the balloon. As the boy blow a balloon, what happened? The air enters the balloon from your lungs, okay, or that boy's lungs, and what happened? The air takes up a space in the balloon. The balloon expand because why the balloon expand? Because the air inside needs to take up more space. जसं जसं आपण तो फुगा बलून हा फुगवत जाऊ तसं तसा तो मोठमोठा होत जातो. Why this is happened? Because it take a more space. So that is how you can see that air takes up a space. आणि यावरूनच आपण काय सांगू शकतो? Air takes up a space or air occupies a space. Now second one example is given here. Two pot. Okay, what happened in that? There are the two pots which filled with the water. Okay, in first one figure what is given there, or observe the first one figure, a water bottle is keep in a inverted position. Okay, and when we press that water bottle into that water, what happened? The water does not enter into that bottle. Why it is? Why this happened? Because uh, the air is present into that water. When we slightly tilt that water, what happened? The water enters into that water bottle. Why this is happened? Because what? The airs are removed out from this water bottle. Okay, and water is enter into that bottle, and air is removed out. Why we can say that air is removed out? Because of the air bubbles, we can we can observe there air bubbles which is goes out, okay, from this water bottle, and hence we can say that the water bottle is filled with the air. So from these two activities, we can say that air occupies a space. Now next is the scattering of light. Air is a mixture of a very fine particles of some gases, dust, smoke and moisture. When rays of light falls on these minute particles, the particles spread the light in the all direction, and the natural phenomena is called as the scattering of light. Okay, so we know that in the air there are the dust particles are there, smokes is there, then various gases are there. So when the light falls on these particles, what happened? That particles spread the light in all direction, and this is the scattering of light. Why we can say the sky is blue? So due to that scattering of light. Now next one is temperature regulation. We know that earth receives energy in the form of sunlight from the sun. So this energy is reflected by the earth in the form of heat. The constituent of the air surrounding the earth, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, absorb a part of this heat and give it to the other constituent of the air. As a result, what happened? The earth surface remains warm and thereby becomes suitable for the living world on the earth. If there were no air on the earth, the average temperature of the earth surface would have been very low. So you can observe a picture that here given how the temperature is regulated, okay, of the earth. So sunlight, from the sunlight, the sun rays are falls on the earth surface, okay, and from this the rays are reflected in the form of heat, okay, and that heat is absorbed by the dust particle, water vapors, carbon dioxide which is present into the air, and some are which is absorbed by it, and the some part of this is give it to the other constituent, okay, and therefore the earth's temperature is regulated, or that means the earth's temperature remains warm. So this is the temperature regulation. Now next one is transmission of sound. All the sounds that we hear reach us through the surrounding air. The density of air also changes due to the change in its temperature. Okay, that means as the temperature is changed, the density of the air also change. So air is useful as a medium for the transmission of sound. Okay, in winter the density of the air increases. We can hear the whistle of a distant train clearly early in the morning in winter. So air is useful medium for the transmission of the sound. Now next one is the summary. Okay, so what we discussed here. Air takes up a space. It made up of atoms and the molecules. Now air is made up of gases including nitrogen, oxygen, water vapors, other materials. These substances are what give air mass. Okay, now air exerts a pressure. Next one is air has a weight. Next, air can be compressed. Air is affected by temperature. So these are the properties of air we discuss. Now here the properties of water. The properties of water, in that we know that water occurs in a liquid state under a ordinary condition. Now water is a fluid substance. Water does not have its own shape but has a volume. Okay, it can pass through small holes or seep through very small gaps or cracks. If you observe, when you take a plastic bottle, okay, when you take a plastic bottle more than half full of water, mark the water level on the bottle. Keep this bottle upright in the freezer for making ice. Open the freezer after a couple of hours and observe. You will see that the water has changed into the ice, not the level of the ice. You will find that the ice level is higher than that of the water level before freezing. What can you infer from this? As the water freezes to form ice, it expands. That means its volume increases. Ice is lighter than water. Okay, so we can if you see in the picture here, take some water in a glass and add a few pieces of ice into it and observe what happened. What you can see in that, the ice is fluid on the water. So why it is happened? Because when water freezes, that is when it transforms into the ice, its volume increases. Therefore the density of ice is less than that of the water, and therefore the ice floats on the water. So this is depend upon the density of the ice, which is less. Okay, so density of water is how much? 1 gram per centimeter cube. So what is density of water? Density is equal to mass upon volume. That is here given the interrelationship between mass upon volume. Mass per volume. Okay, so what is the definition of density? Density is the mass upon volume. Okay, mass is measured into the grams and volume is measured into the centimeter cube, and hence the density of water is equal to 1 gram per centimeter cube. Now next one is anomalous behavior of water. Okay, so as the temperature increases from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, the density of water also increases. The density of water is maximum at 4 degrees Celsius. The surface layer of the water in the reservoir freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. You can see a layer of ice is there at 0 degree Celsius. The temperature of water below the ice is about 4 degrees Celsius. From this figure we can say that the temperature below that ice is about 4 degrees Celsius, and hence this is the in that temperature the water expands. Okay, and hence this is called the anomalous behavior of water. Water shows anomalous expansion. Okay, that means what? Water expands when the temperature of water falls below 4 degree Celsius. Okay, this is the anomalous behavior of water. So why the water stays below the ice and aquatic animals in the reservoir can survive in it? Because the temperature of water below the ice is about 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, and in that the water expands. Okay, and that water shows anomalous behavior of water, and therefore the water stays below the ice, and aquatic animals in the reservoir can also be survived in that. So in the next they are given one activity. Okay, so two glass, you can see there are two glass of water. Okay, in first one glass there is keep the fresh water, in second one glass there keep the salt water. So if you take the one potato and you dip into the first glass, which is filled with the fresh water, what happened, that potato will sink. And if you take that potato and you dip into the next one, that is which contain a salt water, you dip into that water, the potato is float on that water. Why is this so? Because of that what, density. So what happened in that, when the salt dissolves in water, the particles spreads in water. Slowly they become smaller and smaller, and ultimately they become so small that they cannot be seen. That means it mixes completely with water. This is what is called dissolving. That means the salt water form there. So here given the solute, solvent and the solution, three concepts are there. So what is the solute? The substance that dissolved in a solvent, or we can say a substance that dissolves, is called as a solute. Here the salt is the solute. Now the substance in which the solute is dissolved, that is water, is called as a solvent. And the next one is what we get when the solute dissolved in a solvent, that is called solution. So these are the three concepts here given. So next question is what, why is it easier to swim in the sea than in the whale or a lake? Seawater consists of about 35 grams of salt per liter. Thus the density of seawater is more than that of the ordinary water. As we see before that, the example of that potato and the salt water, what happened in that, the density of the salt water is more than that of the fresh water, and therefore the potato will be fluid there, or fluid there. So here the same thing is applied. The density of the sea water is more than that of the ordinary water, and hence this makes the person to swim easily in the sea water than in the ordinary water. So according to this all properties, they are given some uses of water. So first one is, water is useful for water transport due to its property, that fluidity. Water falling down from a height, which is used for generating the electricity. Second one is what, water is a good coolant and is used in motor vehicle to control the temperature of the engine. Third one, water is used as a solvent in the factories, laboratories, foodstuffs, and in various types of biological processes occurring in the body, such as digestion, excretion. So we also drink the water to perform this biological process, that is digestion and excretion. Next one is, water is useful for our daily purpose, lots of daily purpose, that is cleaning purposes, okay, such as bathing, washing clothes, etc. So here we have to stop here. This one is the first part of this lesson, okay, which contain the properties of air and the properties of water, which are the natural resources. Now write down your homework. Question number 1 of the homework is, which are the various properties of air? Question number 2, define. First one is natural resources, second one is atmospheric pressure, third one is scattering of light. Now question number 3, which instrument is used to measure atmospheric pressure? Question number 4, write any 4 uses of water. So this is your homework. You have to write down in your HW. So thank you. Stay safe. Stay home.